guys, what's up? It's Mike, lead investigator for the Unknown Paranormal. I'm here with a friendly takeover of Hidden in the Shadows podcast.
This is Isaac, and this is a new concept that me and Megan talked about to do with some of our friends in the paranormal world, to essentially bring them on to talk about something they want to talk about. Essentially not us interviewing them, but essentially a subject that they want to talk about, and they don't essentially have a podcast platform to do it on, but maybe they want to do it with myself, Megan, or both of us. So today it's just me and Mike. And what are we talking about today, Mike?
Today's episode, we are going to speak about how we believe that being a part of the paranormal can influence or even heighten abilities within the paranormal. Maybe abilities that you think you've never had, or awaken something that you once remembered that you had and it's gone away, and you find yourself seeing that come back.
Yeah, because I know that it has the same influence as the idea that those people who are in, like yourself, and have been investigated for a long time, we've never really had abilities, like gain abilities from investigating for the amount of time they spend with the paranormal. And I guess just being in that supernatural world, like they gain the ear ringing thing when the right ear rings versus left ear, right? The ear ringing sensations, or they start feeling more energy around them just because they're involved in it. Which tends to happen to a lot of investigators.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, from when we first started walking into cemeteries or locations, it was more like, this is kind of a breeze, like you're tuning into your equipment, you're waiting for the equipment to happen. But the longer that we kept going at it, the longer that we kept visiting places that were known for hauntings, the more our bodies and ourselves adapted to things around, like the sensation of someone standing there, being able to see something walk by you that you would have never guessed it was there. All these things came over time, and I feel that it was definitely a start of the beginning process of what is now known to us today, that we do have some sort of ability.
Yeah. So I know my ability, as I've talked about on the podcast for a long time now, it really strengthened and got a lot of practice doing investigations, being surrounded by it and actually encountering spirits and stuff like that. And now even you, with your kind of like your internal radar or compass, essentially, always points you in the right direction of anything, and you can now kind of feel it.
Yeah, that's right. It started as being able to tune into an internal compass, getting out onto a location, closing my eyes, scanning from what I believe is the third eye, and just simply telling myself, show me. And when I open my eyes on a location and I say those words, I get a chill that runs through my body. And as I'm walking, touring a location, the tingles in my head guiding me to certain spots that I would never have thought I'd find myself walking towards, or going into that dark room in the back of the house, and using that sensation to help guide me into a part of an investigation that I didn't think happened, and resulting in finding results. Paranormal activity has definitely been quite the experience to go through.
Yeah, I know that reminded me of an episode of Ghost Adventures. I know no one likes talking about Zach Bagans, but there was an episode where they were at some bar or some place, and the guy was like really, like, he was on the fence about like Zach and the team and whether or not they're like legit or not. And then Zach got pulled to a certain space in the basement area, in the back area, where he felt like something was like dark happened. I remember the guy who was giving him the tour, who, like, he was on the fence about. I was like, God dang it! Like, he found it. He found exactly where it was. Like, okay, now I know these guys are legit. The thing is, though, Zach never talked about having psychic or mediumship abilities, but I guarantee he, enough time spent with the paranormal, he felt a pull towards a certain place, whether he knew it to himself or not.
Exactly, and I think for the fans of Hidden in the Shadows podcast that do follow Zach Bagans and the Ghost Adventures crew, I think it's fair enough to say that we all take the time to actually watch the OGs on TV once in a while. But if you're following down Zach's path, one would simply be able to recognize his story and how that grew and how that became. With my understanding, with him being in the paranormal, to the point to where he owned the demon house, and that's where I find all things changed for him. To from not having to wear glasses to having to wear glasses, and later on getting deeper into the seasons. Zach has obtained abilities of sense, being able to sense when things are around and where to guide himself. So again, I think that's a great topic. I think it fits for what we're talking about, and on TV, it's proof. True fans will follow from day one and recognize what we're speaking about, to what we're noticing, and to watch it happen on TV. You can't not say that it's not true when this is happening to someone. And last that I watched an episode just a few nights ago, and what I'm noticing too is his partner there, Aaron. He's starting to begin to have the ability to sense as well. He's getting more freaked out. He's able to hear things that are more like he's hearing the things that are happening more than what he did previous. So I mean, being a part of the paranormal definitely changes one, changes your mentality. Excuse me. And it leads you into different perspectives on the paranormal too. So I'd be really eager to see what people have to say later on in comments or any DMs that they want to pass along. It'd be interesting to hear what they have to say.
I can't watch Ghost Adventures anymore now that I know how the sausage is made. Um,
Yeah.
it's hard in a sense. Like I know a lot of places they go and evidence they collect. Hey, that's good, but then I know for a fact that they're putting on a show for entertainment reasons. Because you've been an investigator for a good while. I've been an investigator for about 4 years, and in that short time, I don't react to stuff anymore. Not like the way they do. I don't jump. Oh my god, or like anything like that. So I'm like, they've been doing it for almost 20 years, and they start acting like it's day one. I'm like, you're putting it on for entertainment. So that's what kind of like, you know, like a kid finding out Santa Claus isn't real, like that whole situation. Which any kids are listening, I'm sorry I just ruined it. uh, but yeah, that kind of like it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But essentially, I don't know. It's like I don't like watching. And then also when I watch it, Megan, when she watches stuff, she can remote view into that time that they were actually there, and then start seeing around and like, no, okay, something's over there, something's over there, and then you see like we never watched the episode before. She sees them like react to something that's about to come, and she knew it was happening. So I was like, holy crap! So she she doesn't like watching it because of that. But um, when I guess how long were you investigating before you started realizing that you start picking up on stuff that you normally never did?
I'm gonna say the first 2 years. The first year, so we've been together as a team for 6 years, but now that's 6 years officially throughout like Instagram, social media. A year prior to that, we were out there on the field going, we would find ourselves all the time, finding ourselves going to cemeteries. We did a road trip when Christy and I first got together, and in going all the way to Alberta, that's a day's drive, and finding ourselves spending more time in cemeteries than we were looking for tourist destinations. And the more we got into the paranormal, it was like, well, hold on a sec. Like, I'm really feeling sad right now, and couldn't explain that. But the more conversations that we had through a spirit box or audio recorders and listening to those EVPs, we start realizing that I'm picking up on an emotion here. The person that's speaking to me is talking to me in a tone where they're almost weeping. Christy, she's developed the ability to see. She's able to show me using AI the person that we are speaking to the best of her description. Now, keep in mind it's something new. It's something that we're working on. But when you break it down and you put a face to who you're speaking to, you come home and do your research. to find that you've made a connection to a real person on file of the insane asylum, Riverview Hospital, that's 10 minutes away from our house. This happened at the BC Penn Cemetery, known as Boot Hill Cemetery, where we spoke to a prisoner named of John Walsh. Well, we didn't know this beforehand, but John Walsh was an inmate at the BC Penn. Christy was able to use her sense of sight, the sense of hearing, and develop a photo that was her closest recognition to this gentleman. So, I mean, the deeper that we dive into it, new things keep arriving. We keep pushing, and we're finding that it's either getting stronger or it's leading to a new perspective on something new that's developing in like the paranormal with ourselves, right? So yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a major thing. A new way of investigating is the door that's opened up for us. So it's been really fascinating.
Yeah. That makes me wonder about other investigators who've been out there. Because granted, I walked into the field with a cheat code with my ability. So did Megan. So I never got to experience the sensation of not having any kind of ability and then slowly gaining the almost an intuneship to the other side. And that's what kind of it is. The whole idea of being around the paranormal is like it's almost like your body's starting to become in tune to the supernatural world the more you spend time with it. And it's what's the key to start unlocking psychic or mediumship abilities that some people feel like they're dormant in their bodies and stuff like that. Because I know people always ask the question, like, everyone's capable of being psychic or medium? I said, yeah. Same way everyone's capable of playing basketball. Some people are all right. Some people are good. Some people are very good. Some people join the NBA, and some people are known as legends throughout the history of time. So that thing goes with it. But gaining that ability, experience with it, most people are like, well, how do I do that? You know, people always say like meditate or come in tune with your spirit guides. But if you're involved in the paranormal, you're out there investigating, you're in that world, it starts to feel more real and starts unlocking your mind and thoughts that you never might have had before. Therefore, in tuning you to the other side, and therefore you can start using whatever ability might be dormant. Not everyone's going to be me, or not everyone's going to be Megan or psychic or medium. You might have a distinctive, unique ability that allows you to communicate or at least guide your way through the other side. Like you were able to find something, get a pull towards something. We can almost feel the energy of you getting pulled in that direction. Like I said, like a radar detecting it and also a compass pointing you in the right direction.
And it's quick. Like, like it's gone to the point where I can close my eyes and just say, show me. As soon as I open my eyes, that's it. It's beeping. I'm getting pointed left or right. Sometimes I got to circle for a minute, but it no longer than about 10 minutes. I can find a spot. We can put equipment out and we can get started. Same thing with Christy. Christy can get pulled to a whole different side of a room or a house, or I'll be down in the basement and she'll disappear and she'll be in the attic having a full blown conversation in a matter of minutes. Now, being in tune with the paranormal has opened up, an internal compass, the sense of feel. And the new thing I think I have been able to develop. Now, this is through belief, right? This is my own belief through the paranormal and being able to have the friendship I do with you, Isaac. Not that I can beat you, not that I think that I'm better than you, but I do believe I've had a moment where I have taken time now to practice a form of EMA. EMA, simply what I can do is either by shaking someone's hand, I can bring in negative energy through my body, and I can develop a ball in the center of my hand where I have learned to release that. I can feel the change in temperature within my hand while that lets go. And I think that's guidance from you and Megan. I mean, you guys are always striving to get better, and you're on that track where every day is a new day of learning or empowering yourself to do better. Now, with that mindset, I have taken the time to practice to get better of my own abilities, whether it's my internal compass whether it's focusing on my sight and vision late at night, looking for shadows, or my EMA. Any chance that I get, it's something that I'm practicing. And I think with everybody's internal ability, if it's unwoken or not unwoken, as long as you take the time to practice, things will come forward. And that's what people need to keep thriving. Practice makes perfect. And I think as a paranormal investigator, and their point of view is you got to take a step back and focus on that belief. And you can actually get more things through yourself than you will be gaining if you were to ask for like a helping hand through another person.
I know you explained that new ability of yours, but essentially you said you're a, a sponge is absorbing someone's negative energy.
Yes.
What does that feel like to you?
Well, the last guy that you and I have helped, I asked him if I could try something new. And what that is I shook his hand, technically. As I was shaking his hand, I closed my eyes, I tuned into him, and I can feel the like it's energy, man. It's the best way that I can put it. I could feel like the tingles run through my fingers into my body. My body goes kind of cold. And when it hits like the pit of my stomach, I can absorb it almost like what he's been feeling. And when I let go, I bring out that EMA through my hand and I hold it in front of him. And when I held it and looked at him, I could see things just calming down. I felt a lot better. I felt just normal Mike, like nothing happened. And then I released it. But when I released it, I remember shaking my hand because it was like it got really cold. And then that was it. It was done. I believe I sent it to the universe. I've tried sending it to your ring. I'm just not there yet. Um, but I mean, the sensation is different, man. Like the chills running through your body, being able to absorb like almost a state of like you're ready to break down and cry. Like I absorbed that to the point where it was released and it felt like nothing ever happened. This is something brand new. This is something I'm still trying to figure out. Do I think I always had it? No. But like I said, the paranormal has definitely led me into a position where I can always practice for something else. And when I get to where I want to be, or I find that maybe this is just not for me, I can easily just step away and I can adapt and focus on the other parts of myself, whether it's the vision, whether it's being able to hear to the outside world, and whether it's not to just have that intuition where I'm not feeling very safe. I think we need to move on, right? It's all to do with just one.
Now I'm dealing with a conundrum now, is your ability, this new EMA, it almost sounds similar to mine in a sense that you're physically doing it. You're feeling it physically. You're doing it with your physical body. You're not remote viewing. You're not, doing it with your mind or something like a psychic meeting would do. You're doing it with your physical body, right?
That's right.
Um, and that's how in the beginning, anyway, with pulling dark energy from people's mind forest was that I had to physically hold their hand and absorb it through their body, essentially like that way. Now I can do it remotely because my tendrils allow me to, do things remotely through the phone and stuff like that. Or I can do it from far. Like I don't have to, hold someone's hand. I just say, hey, just stand still, and I, go into their head, which always looks weird. Me just like wiggling my fingers in front of them and say, shush, be still. Um, but the conundrum that I'm thinking about is that something that me and Megan always talked about is that the people that are in our inner circle, right, those who are closest to us, are we just being in proximity to these people or being influenced in their lives? Are we giving them abilities, or are we just almost like a powerhouse, like a magnifier, like you just being in associate with us to unlock or power up abilities that have always been housed?
I think it's the thrive.
Yeah.
Like me and my mindset and a little bit of my attitude is kind of perceived in Well, if you can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
And if I can't do it, I will prove myself wrong on that. I'm man enough to say that I can't do that. But I mean, with speaking to you on a weekly basis, getting to know more information about how you're developing and what you're doing to help that only makes me stronger in my belief system, right? If you can find time to meditate and talk to spirit guides and empower yourself with this ability, I should be able to do that. Now, when I get onto the other side of things and I'm unsure of something or I need that little bit of push or guidance, I have no problem asking for help. And I go to Megan, hey, am I on the right track with something? And she'll guide me. And sometimes it works out. It's like, well, just pump the brakes a little bit and focus on this. I think this is where you need to be right now. And we can focus on other things later. So, I mean, it's definitely the thrive, right? I'm not one to turn around and say, I want to be just like you. But if you're out there fighting a fight that I agree that needs to happen, I should be along your side in doing something very similar in a way where I can help if we can't be together. And I mean, without the paranormal, man, like think about it. Without the paranormal, I wouldn't have known your presence. I wouldn't have met the people that we've met throughout the world, making connections, watching other teams grow, watching other people develop into an ability. Like, there's so many people out there that I've watched that have started a paranormal team to now they're practicing tarot cards or they're going on an investigation, but they're using those tarot cards in investigating, and they don't consider themselves psychics or mediums. They're experimenting on a new form of investigating, but also learning to adapt themselves. So it to me, like, it's definitely making a change. The people's perspectives are changing. People are always looking for a new way, and I respect that.
But it changes belief as well. Like people who have been fans of the paranormal, they hear stories and all that stuff like that, and they're basically spectators. But when they actually go to an investigation, be part of it, and they feel the room change when their fight or flight goes off, when there's nothing in front of them they can see, when they get grabbed or scratched, or they see a shadow figure, or like weird lights, something like that, they're rationally trying to make an excuse of why this is not real, but until they can't. And when that moment, when they can't, then that sparks that thought in your head, what is real and what else is out there that I don't know. And that thought alone starts like a wildfire to the whole process of looking into the unknown. And that's why like some people, like if we never met, you might have been still on the pod on my paranormal investigator the world when without a thought of anything bigger more than yourself out there, like the possibility of what I can do, the possibility of everything that we've talked about in our private conversations, but just the ideas that we've come up with has led to more ideas about this and that we never originally thought about before because no one really ever thought it was possible. Um, and that goes with like people who again have never involved themselves in paranormal, never thought any of this was possible until they witness it and experience it, and then they go, "Oh crap!" And like, if this is real, then I guess that is real, and I gotta this, and it kind of leads like a almost like a gateway drug almost to more belief and to more oddities out there. Um, but yeah, that's involving yourself in something that's supernatural. Start opening up your mind to things that most of the time you questioned, and until you experience that, then you know for sure this stuff is real.
That's right. I 100% agree with that. In fact, I read a quote the other day that stuck with me. Let's see if I can remember. But it went, the unknown behind these doors is what impacts the amount of paranormal activity within these walls. When you think of it, when you break it down, it's the truth. We never know what we're walking into on a location, right? You can send us anywhere. We can read about paranormal claims. We can ask around to local paranormal teams of what they've experienced or what they've gathered from this location. But before you walk in those doors, You do not know what you're going to be met with, right? You don't know. What happens if we show up and nothing happens? What is that? We don't know. We heard a knock. What was that? I have no idea. Let's make that happen. It is the unknown that keeps us moving, that keeps us curious, keeps us doing what we're doing. And we just got to keep pushing.
Mm. Now, you think that your ability, as it is right now, can evolve the more
There's
you,
always room for involvement.
yeah. That makes you wonder where you're going to be next. If you can do this, not essentially remotely, but outside yourself and all that. When's the last time you guys went on an investigation? I know it
It's
was,
been about 2 weeks.
yeah.
It was 2 weeks. We were invited to Minnetonka Lodge with another team, Haunted History BC. They've been on your podcast for a while. We were one of the first groups, right? I'm going to announce it as a group because there was about 13 of us. But we are the first group ever to be a part of a first ghost hunt of this location. At the end of the night, 12 out of 13 people sat down in a circle and a seance was conducted. And I was looking aerial view down to the people that were in the circle with my SLS camera. Got bored of that, turned it off, and I just wanted to get myself in tuned with the upstairs level that I was in. Now, at the time, Christy kept looking up at me, and I'm looking down, like kind of spaced out, and my phone's vibrating in my pocket. And what I notice is Christy's on her phone messaging me, but I ignored it. Right? I'm on an investigation. This is where my mind's got to be. Now, I was picking up on across the hall, so on the other side of the house, I'm looking into the room directly across from me. And what I see is this woman, beautiful gown, long hair, and she's walking up and down the corridor. And I'm tuning in and I'm trying to figure out what it is that she wants. And that was it. It was gone. Seance was over, and it was about time for us to pack up and go. And as I read my messages on my phone, the message from Christy stated, "There's a woman up there with you." But she saw the woman behind me. I'm looking at the woman across the hall. Now, is that a match? It's possible. Is it the same lady? We don't know. I didn't catch any evidence of it. It was just more of the sense and sight. I was able to see this lady. Christy's on a whole different, like a floor lower from me looking up. I'm on the mezzanine and she's witnessing a woman. Is it coincidence? We're not sure. But it's proven from past investigations that she has the ability to see these people. And I was able to see a woman across the hall. So, I mean, it's just so wild on how much we're adapting to our surroundings and allowing ourselves to open up. But again, the more we open up, the more dangers that come with it, right? And, for anybody listening, you just got to keep yourself grounded, stay calm. This is the reason why we're doing this. And the more you adapt into abilities, the more you stay within the paranormal, things may come your way that is unexpected. So you be careful. Know the right people, know the right things to do to protect yourself. And it's wild the way that the paranormal world can influence you to dig deeper into yourself, finding yourself and leading into a direction that you may not have once believed that was part of you. And good things will come, that's for sure.
Yeah. I was thinking, one thing you can try next investigation you go out with. Yeah, it's something I've done before, but like I said, I've learned to do it wirelessly now, rather than have to touch it. But if you remember in the beginning, I was talking about how I had to put my hand to the earth to feel everything negative around about a 100-yard radius, and I'll pull it all from that point, right? If you were to do the same thing I did, put your hand to the earth of a location, right? And see what you can pull from it, the same way you pulled from him, you might be able to get like a good amount of entities in a certain radius of space.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you bring that up because it's like my newest thing to do is before I even walk into a location. So if it's a building and we're walking through the main doors, as I'm turning my compass on, I will actually rub the door frame of the house. I know it sounds weird, but remember, for anybody that's listened to me, is one of my very first ways of knowing I had an ability was I was able to hold something and pick up on if there was a spiritual attachment to something, or if something that made me feel like it was darker than that. So in order for me to keep using that ability, I'm finding different ways of using it, whether it's touching a door frame, whether it's when I'm walking upstairs, making sure I use that handrail and absorbing that energy within that area. And I mean, it's been a few times now that I've used it, and things that I picked up on have come true throughout discovering new facts about the location the deeper that we dive. Based on your experience with the paranormal and what you've seen coming through social media and stuff like that, are you seeing the change in the people? Like, can you agree that the people in the community field are adapting to some sort of ability, or do you think it's more for clout?
A lot of it's for clout. A lot of people out there are trying to get people to essentially follow their page or pay for readings or this. A lot of would-be psychic mediums out there who have an inkling of ability or already thinking that they're professional enough, start charging people for it. So you have a lot of people out there that are actually always probably closeted, believe in the paranormal, at least with psychic and mediums and supernatural abilities. But now that's all over TikTok. A lot of more people are asking more questions, getting into it more. Granted, by not the best people in the world that are kind of guiding them into that kind of situation. But yes, the idea of the paranormal is being more considered versus how it was a long time ago. Granted, because we have a collection of evidence amongst everyone. Everyone's sharing videos or possibly this, possible that. A lot of people faking stuff as well. But then you have a lot of people coming out with distinctive abilities that cannot be questioned, or experiences that alone that kind of prove that, oh shit, it might be something actually out there. Are coming from reasonable, intelligence source people. So a lot of it out there is getting more believed because we're involving ourselves more in it. We have the world's information at our hands. Anything you want to know about, you simply have to ask and you can find it. So looking into the paranormal is a lot of information out there, a lot of practices, a lot of people way to get in touch with the spirit guides. And now that the CIA, declassified the Gateway Project, right? A lot of people looking into seeing how if they can become psychic, if they can become medium, they can learn those abilities, if they can see how far they can get. So with more information about it, a lot of people are looking more into it, therefore creating a new generation, you could say, of people more interested into the paranormal. Now, my fear is that this creates a lot more fear mongering amongst it, in a sense of that they don't want to be involved in it, so it's scary. But my hope we go into the mindset that was going on in the early 1900s with people doing seances regularly and believing in ghosts and stuff like that, building and creating things to help protect themselves from spirits in the homes. Like that kind of level of interest, like that would do that. But then again, more you play with that stuff, the more times you'll find something that's not friendly out there. Therefore,
Correct.
creating cases for me to do.
Correct. No, I agree. And just to leave it on a straight note too, I find that I think a lot of people that are looking for a way into adapting themselves is taking the time to meditate, taking the time to actually think about what it is that you're looking to gain within the paranormal ability wise, and stay the heck off of Google. I think
Yeah.
the easiest method, honestly, is connecting with yourself, figuring out who you are as a person, how you want to take that person onto a field and what's expected for that person to do. And doing those steps will help you find that way that you want to go.
Yeah. Well said, old friend. Well, thank you for coming in friendly, taking over Hidden Shadows podcast. And we'll have more of these episodes to come with other people that we know very well who can come in and stuff like this. So, where can everybody find your socials there, Mike?
The main one that everyone can find us on is obviously Instagram at the Unknown Paranormal. It's a team-built website, so if you feel like messaging, ask some questions, just send us a DM. Refer your question to a team member that you want to speak to, whether it's Phil, Christy, or myself. One of us will help you out there. Other than that, I really appreciate this takeover. I appreciate the listeners tuning in and listening to this conversation, and I hope to get some pretty cool feedback. And of course, I enjoy spending time with you, my brother.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in to this episode of Hidden in the Shadows podcast. Just remember, we'll catch your weirdos in the next one.
Yes.